Okay, so far to review and catch up, we've talked about the fighter pilot planning process of understanding the threat, understanding what the threat is, knowing your own weapon systems, capabilities and limitations in order to survive with the minimum risk possible, right? What we've covered so far is demographics and how we think demographics sets the macroeconomic picture. We talked about in 1973, birth rates reversed, and so we should, and since 1973 is 45 years ago, and since peak spending occurs in that 45 to 50 demographic range, we expect we're going to have a tailwind, so to speak, for the economy for the foreseeable future. But that doesn't mean that we don't have risk. The primary risk, as I see it right now, is the debt and potentially that bond bubble that we talked about in the previous video. So, given the fact that, we've got these uncertainties out there, how do we invest in an uncertain environment? How do we use these various weapon systems, these various investment vehicles, each of which have certain advantages and certain drawbacks? How do we combine those in such a way to achieve the mission of getting the maximum return with minimum potential for loss? So our viewpoint here at Mach 1 Financial is we use these four investment strategies in various combinations depending on the client's, depending on your risk tolerance and your goals, depending on what kind of rate of return we need to achieve or how much avoidance for loss we need to have. But regardless of where you are, we can combine these in such a way that we feel like we can achieve what I call a market neutral rate of return, so that regardless of whether the market is up, sideways, or down, we have a high probability of a positive outcome, or at least very, very minimal loss in the single digit range on the negative. So how do we do that? So we're going to cover, in the next series of videos, we're going to cover the pros and cons of each of these things and why we use them, and then we'll wrap up the video series by showing you how we determine what percentage to use of each one based on your unique situation.